Our next topic is dynamic programming algorithm design strategy. So before this dynamic programming, we have studied divide and conquer algorithm design strategy, its control abstraction, then two algorithms on it. That is a recursive matrix multiplication algorithm whose time complexity is big of n cube. Then we have Strassen's matrix multiplication algorithm. Its time complexity is big of n power 2.81. And when compared to a normal recursive multiplication algorithm, matrix multiplication algorithm, Strassen's algorithm is much better because its complexity is n power 2.81 of n power 2.81. And for large values of n, this makes sense. Okay, even though the difference is very less, for large values of n, it makes sense. And we are interested in large values of n only. Okay. And next topic is this dynamic programming algorithm design strategy. And before this, let us see what are the problems with divide and conquer algorithm design. Okay, suppose you are given with a problem. If you are solving that with the divide and conquer strategy, then how that problem is solved, and what are the problems with that solution, and or that method, not the solution. Then whether this divide and conquer strategy can be used for any type of algorithms, and what are their problems. Then when we can go for a dynamic programming algorithm design strategy. That is the basic step I want to do today. So let us see a recursive Fibonacci series algorithm, and we know this algorithm. Anyway, f0 equal to f1 equal to 1, then you can compute fn as fn minus 1 plus fn minus 2 for all values of n greater than or equal to 2. So this algorithm is, you can call it as fib1 of n, then begin. If n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1, naturally it will return 1, because 0th and first element are 1. Else, if they are not 0 or 1, then it will return fib1 of n minus 1 plus fib1 of n minus 2, which means again this fib1 algorithm is called recursively on inputs n minus 1 and n minus 2. Okay, and this will compute fib1 of n. Okay, that is the basic step. And what is the problem with this kind of algorithm? Okay, if you write a divide and conquer algorithm or a recursive algorithm for this Fibonacci series computation, then what are the basic problems? So let's perform an analysis on this algorithm. Let's call f5, that is fib1 of 5. Okay, so f5, when you call f5, it is not is equal to 0 and 1, then it will call, or it will have two recursive calls, that on n minus 1 and n minus 2. So f4 and f3 is called. Then f4 is again, or this f4 calls f3 and f2. f3 will call f2 f1, f2 will call f1 f0. f1 will return 1. Then f2 will in turn call f1 f0. Then this f3 will call f2 f1, f2 will call f1 f0. Okay, so this is for f that is n is equal to 5. So let's compute number of recursive calls in each case for each values of n. Suppose n is equal to 0, how many recursive calls are there? And we know that when n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1, it simply returns 1. So which means there are no recursive calls. Then when n is equal to 2, what happens? f1 and f0, two recursive calls. When n is equal to 3, it calls f2 f1, f2 in turn calls f1 f0. So there are 4 recursive calls. When n is equal to 4, what happens? How many recursive calls? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 recursive calls. When n is equal to 5, we have 14 recursive calls here, and etc. You can compute for all values of n up to n. So when n is equal to 2, there are 2 recursive calls, and you can write it as this value is greater than or equal to 2. And when n is equal to 3, this value is 4, and that is greater than or equal to 2 power 3 by 2. Okay. This is n is equal to 4, that is 8. This value is greater than or equal to 2 power 4 by 2. N is equal to 5, that is 14. It is greater than or equal to 2 power 5 by 2. If you write like this, when n is equal to n, this value or number of recursive calls will surely or you can say that this value is greater than or equal to 2 power n by 2. Okay, so when n is equal to n, this number of recursive calls greater than or equal to 2 power n by 2. Okay, that is clear from this picture. And what is the time for this algorithm? Okay, suppose you are asked to compute or print F100, that is Fibonacci series, for n is equal to 100. So you need to print 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 2, etc. All values should be printed until n is equal to 100. N is actually the number of times. So this is greater than or equal to 2 power 100 divided by 2. So we know that the number of recursive calls for Fn is equal to or greater than or equal to 2 power n by 2. So F100 will be greater than or equal to 2 power 100 by 2. So F100 will be greater than or equal to 2 power 50. So you can write it as this one is greater than or equal to 2 power 10 into 2 power 10 into 2 power 10 into 2 power 10 into 2 power 10. So this value you can write it as greater than or equal to 2 power 10. We can approximate it as 1000. Okay, that is larger than 1000. But let us take it as 1000. 1000 into 1000 into 5000 are there. Okay, and suppose for one recursive call 1 milliseconds are taken. Okay, surely it is less than that. Anyway, let us take 1 milliseconds for one recursive calls. So you have these many recursive calls. So these many milliseconds will be taken for computing F100. So what is this value? This you can take, there are 5000s, so you can reduce it to 4000s. Yes. Okay, so that is these many seconds. Then you can divide or you can compute the number of days here, that is greater than or equal to this value divided by 3600 into 24. Okay, so this when divided by 60 you will get number of minutes, again by 60 you will get number of hours, divided by 24 you will get number of days. So which means this value is approximately equal to 25 into 10 power 6 days. Okay, so that is actually when time for one recursive call is equal to 1 millisecond. Okay, if it is less than that you will miss some zeros here. Anyway, this value is very big, that many days will be taken for computing F100. So which means it is very huge, and you cannot wait for this, because this will take your lifetime or even more than your lifetime. You will not get the result. So what went wrong here? Okay, so what is the main problem with here? So when you take this algorithm, we know that when we compute F5, it calls F4 and F3. So when you call F4, it again computes F3 and F2. So which means the same value will be computed multiple times. Okay, so which means here you have F4. F4 is your subproblem that actually depends on another subproblems F3 and F2. And here you have again one more subproblem, that is F3, and F3 computes F2 and F1. So these subproblems are similar or interdependent. Okay, all these subproblems are interdependent, but you are computing their values multiple times. Okay, you are recomputing these subproblems. That makes it somewhat a bigger or biggest problem. Okay, so if the subproblems are highly interdependent, then don't go for a recursive algorithm. Then you don't go for a divide and conquer strategy. Okay, that is a main basic thing. If the subproblems are highly interdependent, don't go for a divide and conquer algorithm design, because it computes the values again and again. The same value will be computed multiple times, which is actually wastage of CPU time. Okay. So let us see another algorithm for Fibonacci series, that is Fib2 of n, that is begin f of 0 is 0, f of 1 equal to 1, for I is equal to 2 to n, do f of I is equal to f of I minus 2 plus f of I minus 1, then return f of n. So here what happens? You are actually using one array, that is f, and you are storing the values. F of 0 is 0, f of 1 is 1. Then the remaining values you are computing. You are adding the previous two values and the result is computed in that array. Okay. So f of I, that ith element is set as f of I minus 2 plus f of I minus 1. So here what happens? And you will return the array. Okay. Here you are returning the last element anyway. So what is the basic concept here? You are using one table. You can say that you are using one table and you are computing the subproblems or solving the subproblems, and their solutions are actually stored in this table. And later when you need that value, you are not recomputing them. You are just taking it from the table and used for computations. Okay, that makes it very simpler. Okay. So here you are using a table and subproblems will be solved and they are stored in a table, and whenever you need solutions of the subproblems, you will just pick it from the table. You are not going for recomputation, which what happens in the case of divide and conquer strategy is that it will recompute these subproblems again and again. Even though it is computed once, it is not stored anywhere and it will keep on computing them. And this is actually one step toward the dynamic programming algorithm design. Okay. In the case of the basic concept in a dynamic programming strategy is that it computes the solutions of the subproblems in a table, and whenever that is required, it is retrieved from that table. Okay. It is not going for any recomputations. Okay. So this is a perfect example for, even though we didn't know that it is actually a dynamic programming algorithm, we did it in our basic C programming labs. Okay, this is actually this actually explores the concept of dynamic programming. Dynamic programming is actually much bigger than this, but still the basic concept is that it stores the values of subproblems or solutions of the subproblems in table and reuses them. Okay. In the case of a dynamic programming algorithm design strategy, it recomputes the values, whereas it reuses the values. Okay. So dynamic programming strategy is actually used for the main aim is that this dynamic programming algorithms are basically used for optimization problems. Okay. Optimization problems are actually finding out a best solution from a set of possible solutions. Typically, these kind of problems will have n number of solutions. All these solutions you can call as feasible solutions, and from among this feasible solution, you will have one best solution that you can call it as optimal solution. Okay, so optimization problems are actually, you can divide them into maximization problem or minimization problem. So which means the best solution means that may be either the maximum value or the minimum value. Consider the example of our famous minimum cost spanning tree. Okay, for example, minimum cost spanning tree. So in that case, we know that given a graph, you will be able to find out any number of spanning trees for that for that graph. But minimum cost spanning tree will be one which has a minimum cost. Okay, so which means when you sum cost of the edges in the tree, you will get a minimum number. And again, there may be this minimum cost spanning tree is not actually unique, that we know. Anyway, you have multiple spanning trees and you are taking the best solution. Okay, so that means the best spanning tree which has the minimum cost. And consider the case of a maximization problem. Suppose you are trying to find out profit of something. Okay, so in that case, you will get multiple solutions, or you will have many feasible solutions. All the profits you can consider, but your aim is to find out the maximum profit. Okay, your aim is to find out the maximum profit. That is known as a maximization problem. So typically, this optimization problems can be solved by using dynamic programming design technique.